Welcome to another edition of Pinot with Pag and Panettieri, brought to you by the folks at N-able. We discuss the critical role that MSPs play in the small business ecosystem and where your business could be heading next to succeed. Got a question for us? Post it in the comments area and we'll try to cover it in a future edition. Great to see you. How you been?
Hey, Joe. Great to see you again. How are things?
I got to tell you, actually, things have been great. No complaints at all. Life is good. Now, it's been a few months since you and I have caught up on video. So question for you. I know you've made some executive announcements. I don't want to call these replacements. These are additional people at the executive table. You now have a larger roster of executives. Give us a recap. What's going on?
Yeah, great way to say it. So mix of, I call it my quilt, mix of some old faces and new faces. We still got, Mike Cullen and Leo Sanchez and Frank Coletti driving a lot of that, but we brought in some new faces. Mike Adler. So Mike is my CTO, my CTPO actually, and he's coming over from RSA Security. One of the first things that Mike did was tap Dave McKinnon to be our CISO. Dave came from AT&T, where he built the SOC for AT&T. So these are two folks that really understand security, understand how to build a secure product, and what's going on in the channel, and what's that new challenge for the SMEs and the MSPs from a security point of view. So that was great. And then we rounded up the lineup, Joe, we brought in a new CMO, Jeff Nelson, and Peter Anastas, our general counsel. And Peter, this will be Peter's fifth company as a public general counsel. So brings with him a breadth of experience as we continue to explore the spin. So I'm really excited.
Okay, John, thanks for the background on the executives. Now, switching gears a little bit, you've also done some new integrations, alliances. Tell us, what's new there?
We continue to add additional services and deeper integration with SentinelOne and EDR. We've announced earlier in this year a couple of key integrations. We launched and went GA with the Intune integration with Microsoft. We've gone forward with the Cisco Meraki announcement. And Joe, by the way, the theory and strategy, and I said this at Empower on the 8th of June, is we know that the world's getting a lot messier for these MSPs. And we know there's a major proliferation of devices and operating systems and all that. And our job is to help straighten out what's messy. And we've been telling our MSPs, we'll meet you where it's messy. And that's what these integrations are all about. Right. We've invested in that TAP program. So we're bringing more products and partners into that TAP program. So our MSPs can focus on what they do best, and that's servicing the SME. So we'll continue to do that and bring in these integrations from world-class companies. We just rolled out DNS Filter, which allows MSPs another content filtering engine, almost like a web protection type of service that's next gen, to make sure that the MSPs can add another layer of security to keep out the bad guys.
Got it. So it sounds like you're enabling the MSPs to either consume more and more services themselves or roll out more and more services to the end customers. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, I've articulated it as my XYZ strategy, and it's pretty straightforward. The X is to allow the MSPs to manage more. We see the big trend, Joe. You see it. You write about it. There's crazy proliferation, whether it be SaaS applications, whether it be different types of hybrid cloud. Azure coming more and more up. That proliferation, that diversification, makes it a lot more complicated for the MSP. So we're doing a lot of things to help diversify and help them manage more. That's my X. On the Y, it's the services. You're exactly right. It's bringing more services, security services, automation services, cloud management services, so the MSPs can do more. And my Z, which might not be that intuitive, I like 3 dimensions in my analogies here, Joe, is helping MSPs bring more SMEs to their business and bring in more SMEs. And we're doing a bunch, whether it be with my Head Nerds or my Market Builder Program that we just announced, to bring more goodness for these MSPs so that they can help and they can add more customers to their business.
Got it. So actually, that's a good segue. I had forgotten to bring up the fact that this is a wine-oriented podcast, and the 3D vector you just mentioned, the XYZ, that's a lot for. In some ways, it's great opportunities for the MSPs. In other ways, we want to make sure that the MSPs don't get overwhelmed, right? And then to segue to wine here, we've got this low-hanging fruit. So I think MSPs really want to understand, okay, I have all these opportunities, X, Y, Z. But really, what is the low hanging fruit for me? Where should I really focus my energies and efforts first?
Yeah, great question, and great use of low hanging fruit. By the way, salute that.
It was a little bit of a stretch. Okay, how do I work the line in? But there you go.
Salute, it was very good. The wine's good. It's another Pinot, so we're sticking with the themes. That's good.
Okay.
The For me, the low hanging fruit, people often overlook this when people think about growing their business.
Mm-hmm.
They think, okay, how do I new customer acquisition, new customer acquisition? For me, the low hanging fruit for the MSPs is to retain their book of business and expand their portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's also the most profitable way that you can grow your business. Why? We all know acquiring customers are expensive, and to retain a customer is cheaper. So if you can grow your book of business and expand with that, I always think of it as a growth algorithm: new customers, retaining the customers, but then expanding within that portfolio. That's the best lowest hanging fruit for the growth algorithm. For MSPs, there's a bunch of different ways they can do that: adding data protection, adding security, adding a full suite of offerings. Because Joe, I know, the MSPs know, SMEs, our small medium enterprises, are looking for the MSP to be their trusted advisor across the entire portfolio. That's security as well. That means the entire program. And for an MSP to go in and expand and provide data protection, provide a proper security layered approach, is a great way for them to expand within their existing customer base, rise their revenue, and rise their profits. For me, that's the best path for low-hanging fruit for these MSPs.
Okay. All right. So as an MSP goes on that journey and pursues the low-hanging fruit and strives to grow the revenue, tell me a little bit more about how N-able, for lack of a better term, and ironically, this goes back to the start of the company. The term N-able quite literally is all about enabling MSPs, as I understand and as I recall.
It's I like to play with that, with the N-able name, and take it even one step further.
Mm-hmm.
Our vision is to enable the digital evolution of the small medium enterprise. That's the vision.
Okay.
Our mission is to empower these MSPs, and with the MSP's journey is really to continue the digital evolution for the small medium enterprise. I made some noise in the press a couple months ago by calling the phrase digital transformation stupid.
Right.
And it got a bunch of press, and there was the Reds and Blues on this topic. It was for and against that topic. And my point was, you're not digitally transformed. It's not a butterfly or a light switch that you wake up, and my MSPs know this. They know this. They know it's a journey, right, for these SMEs and for themselves. And our job is to help them on their evolution. And everyone's journey and everyone's evolution is different. It's different for the SMEs. It's different for the MSPs that support the SMEs. And our job is to meet them where they're at. Yeah. And so for me, it's leveraging our platform that's purpose-built and our know-how, on our business know-how, to bring them along in that evolution. What we also know about evolution, Joe, it was slower yesterday than it is today, and it's going to be faster tomorrow than it is today. So things are speeding up, and our job is to help these MSPs with that acceleration. And that's on a technology point of view, a business point of view, an automation point of view. It's multifaceted. It's why I love the business, because it's not one dimensional. Like I said, it's that's multidimensional kind of angle that we try to deliver for these MSPs.
Got it. Okay, so this digital evolution journey, if I'm an MSP listening to that, is N-able making any new moves in the sales or marketing areas to help empower the MSPs on that journey and accelerate that transformation?
Yeah, it's a great call out. There's a couple of things we're doing. We announced at Empower this Market Builder Program. This is an offering that we provide for the MSPs for free, where they can leverage our marketing collateral. They can white label it. We're helping them actually with lead gen, and helping them to identify new customers for them to add on for free. And we're doing the service for free, providing them, again, that know-how, that expertise, and a platform that they can automate this. We know MSPs don't have the time to focus on sales and marketing for the most part. We know that their job is servicing their customer. So we're doing a lot of that heavy lift for them, providing this automation in this platform. That's one big area. I always talk about my nerds. I love my nerds, my head nerds, and we continue to invest there. We brought more head nerds that are focused on sales and marketing, actually to do exactly what you were just talking about, to help them with packaging, to help them with pricing, it's getting complicated, right? There's a lot of different offerings that these MSPs can bring. I was talking to a large MSP in London a couple months back at this point. They had over 20 offerings that they were bringing to their SMEs, 20 different offerings. It was overwhelming. We helped them with their packaging and how to package this up to make their go-to-market motion a lot more simple, a little bit more straightforward, more efficient. So these are the type of things that we're doing as it relates to some of the sales and marketing areas.
Got it. Okay. So, to build on that theme a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit about peer groups, and I wanted to do sort of a time check or a journey check on the peer groups. Did the peer groups remain active during the pandemic, in a virtual way? And now, listen, I can't speak on a global basis. I can reflect on a North America basis. I don't want to say we're out of the pandemic, but things are generally a lot better. Other regions are getting better. As we continue to move along, where do you see the peer groups going? Long-winded question, but tell me a little bit about the peer groups, both during and post-pandemic.
No, look, they can continue to be the heartbeat and lifeline for our business. So what we have, just for folks, we have a bunch of different peer groups, actually. I mean, we leverage the MSP community in a bunch of different ways. Some of the MSPs we have do webinars or other presentations on our behalf because they're part of it. We have the packs. Let me make sure I get all that. We have packs and pags. I gotta get the pags is like Pinot with pags. So that one I can't mess up. So we have the partner councils that are actually help us with roadmap. We'll propose and suggest challenges and technology, and they'll help us shape our technology roadmap. We'll have the PAGs that we actually ask about usability and what they're using, what they're not using, how we can bring more goodness to their world. And then, Joe, we have the elites and super elites. This is a group of MSPs that are basically thought leaders across the globe. They don't necessarily need to be N-able customers. Most of them are, but we really look to them to help us shape some of that thought leadership. And we meet with them quite regularly. David Weeks, Mike Cullen, myself, Mike Adler, part of the leadership team, and Mav Turner. They'll meet with some of these groups monthly, quarterly, and we've been doing it virtually. It's been fine, and we're looking to get together. Historically, we would fly folks around to a certain spot. We would have some good Pinot and have some good conversation. They would help shape some of the challenges. They really focus on what are the challenges that they're facing today, what are the challenges that they foresee in the future, and what can we do to help them become a better MSP, a beher employer, and a better provider to their SMEs. It's great. It's the only way that we can do business because we're not living in their world every day, engaging with the SME. That's what the MSP's job is. And so to get that forum, to get that touch point is critical for us.
Got it. Yeah. The other interesting thing with peer groups is very often M&A conversations percolate or begin there or get solidified there. And it could be M&A conversations between the MSPs, or it may even be the MSPs mentioning various small startup tool vendors that may be of interest to, build out a platform, et cetera. Do you think that M&A trend is going to continue on? I'll say strong, and I mean strong by a lot of activity. I'm not saying all M&A is good or bad. I'm just saying it's a lot of activity right now.
Yeah.
Continuing on?
Yeah, and let me be specific. As it relates to M&A for the MSPs themselves, I actually think it's going to heat up, Joe. Yeah. I spoke to a large MSP earlier last week, and they were planning on doubling their size of the business. And this is a pretty substantial MSP, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, frankly. And we talked about their growth strategy. It was rooted in M&A. And what was a good takeaway for me from that conversation is the way that they're thinking about their targets, right? If you're an MSP and you're looking to be acquired, you need to make sure that you're really rolling forward a complete suite of managed services. Target, whether it be a private equity shop or a larger MSP, they're looking for that rich recurring revenue stream. They're looking for you to see if you have begun to grab some of that low-hanging fruit that we were talking about before. They're looking to see if you have a security offering, what your hygiene is. Do you have you don't necessarily need a SOC, but are you able to speak the security language? Are you a vertical focus? What type of business acumen do you have? That's what they're looking for. if they're looking for targets that they can bring in as part of their fold, but then also really run their businesses. We know this is a decentralized model, MSP by nature. We know that it's a distributed model. They're looking for MSPs that can run their shop to help them grow. So I actually think it's going to continue to accelerate. There's a lot of smart money, as they say, in the market. Private equity shops recognize the power of the MSPs. They recognize that the MSPs are providing IT and security support for the SMEs across the globe. And by the way, Joe, that line is going up. Where we're seeing mid-market companies now start to tap the shoulder of some MSPs. That was the other thing we're noticing. More and more of these MSPs are servicing companies that you and I know the names of.
Right.
It's no longer the very small enterprises across the globe. It's some good-sized companies that are looking for MSPs to help them either augment or run a lot of their IT needs.
Yeah. We're watching it too. So as of the end of May 2021, ChannelE2E, we've tracked probably 300 M&A deals involving MSPs. That's just, the first 5 months of 2021, 300 deals worldwide. So I agree with you. I think the activity is going to stay hardcore, no doubt. On the vendor side, you see it continuing, or do you think we'll have a cooling period?
So, look, there continues to be a bunch of innovation in the space. It's a beautiful kind of snowball, as I like to call it, in that where private equity now is entering into the space and having a little bit of a market consolidation with the MSPs. Mm-hmm. There's more and more venture capital, so the other side of the investment community, venture capital now starting to back MSP purpose-built solutions, and that's not going to say it's brand new, but there's definitely a trend that we're seeing where more and more technology companies are popping up solely with the charter to deliver services for MSPs. We know it, my MSPs know it, the community knows it. It's a different need, and you need to be purpose-built right from day one on how you're architected, the way that you go to market, the way you service these MSPs. So we're starting to see some more startups, which is good. It's great for the community. It's great for us. It's great for the ecosystem. It's great for our MSP partners. The more technology that we can have in the space, the better. It makes their lives more efficient. It helps them grow their business. It helps with that low-hanging fruit that we talked about. So we're seeing more VC money coming in. That's more for that purpose-built technology. And why not? It's a growing market. It's a strong market, and it's one that's definitely here to stay.
Yeah. I agree. One of the things I hear a lot from the software entrepreneurs out there in the MSP space is they're getting more and more comfortable because they no longer have to explain an MSP go-to-market to the venture capitalists. The VCs now get it, and they're willing to fund that. Whereas a decade ago, that was pushing a rock up a hill. The VCs didn't quite understand or weren't attuned to the MSP trend. So it's good to see that. Now, I want to transition to your software portfolio. As you think about software for MSPs, do you think product first or platform first, or is it sort of those two themes together so that individual capabilities continue to you continue to innovate on the individual product front, but also innovate across the platform?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Great question. It starts with the need. So it always starts with the need, whether it be a challenge that's in front of the SME or the need and the challenge from the MSP, and then we look to figure the best path, right? And so a lot of times we'll build the technology ourselves. Sometimes in the case of like a SentinelOne, we'll partner. But that's a good use case. We're always thinking platform first. If we can bring a solution that solves a need for the MSP. Why? Because we believe that if it's in a central dashboard, that's N-tier, multi-tenanted as our architecture is, it allows the MSP to basically kind of do one-stop shopping. We can create the roles and automations. The power of the N-central RM platform is you can write these policies and deploy to one or to many. So when someone's rolling out, whether it be AV or our backup offering or EDR, they can roll that out for one user in the platform or across all of the users. And if you did that as a point solution, you lose that efficiency. So the power of the platform, it's a multiplier effect, Joe. We have all these great services plugged into the platform. Now, an MSP can focus on a particular solution, that's fine. But if they really want to use that multiplier effect, gain that efficiency, it's through the power of the platform. That's where a lot of my incremental investment's going, by the way. one of the reasons for the spin really is for us to take a step back and increase our investment in the business. And one of the top 3 areas that we're investing in is actually exactly what you just said, in that platform. So we can bring these services, plug them in, making sure that the data is there, that the UI is there, that there's a single sign-on. So there's, again, that efficiency play, that reporting is there, and they can really harness the power of that platform. That's where they gain the efficiencies. And that way they can set a policy and run it across their entire estate.
Got it. Okay. Let's close on one last question about the MSPs and sort of a call to action. You mentioned the recent Empower event. What was the call to action there for the MSPs who attended Empower? And for those who didn't attend, what do they miss? I really want to understand where you want to see the MSPs move forward.
Yeah, great. By the way, we had one of my favorite Canadian sharks from Shark Tank. So Robert Herjavec, who's a well-known business entrepreneur, actually Canadian born. He participated at the Empower event, and he did a great job really identifying the upcoming needs and challenges, not just for the MSPs, but for the SMEs, and where that lies from a security point of view. I think for us, it was really a reaffirmation as to, hey, this is a healthy space, and you need to really think about your own growth algorithm across these multiple different dimensions. If you're not thinking holistically about security, if you're not thinking holistically about where the cloud is going to move your business and the businesses of the SMEs, you will be left behind. So those are the 2 areas that we need these MSPs to focus on. Those that actually focus on it and make it more of a proactive approach, I believe will have a competitive advantage in the future. So that was really the call to action. Think holistically about your security, both internally, externally, for the SMEs today and tomorrow. And how does cloud management, cloud configuration, cloud security start to play into all this as well? And I think we'll start seeing that trend all the way through 2021 and through 2022.
Fantastic. Well, John, thanks for the catch up. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. And again, hey, one more thing.
Yes.
When can we do this live? We're almost there.
Hey, listen, I'm immunized or vaccinated, whatever politically correct term you want to use. So I am absolutely available. Let me know.
All right. So cheers to doing this live.
Absolutely. Take care. It was good to see you.